Recently, there has been quite a few celebrities that are getting the "you need media training" accusations because of their supposed bad behavior on social media, on red carpets, and interviews. And honestly, I like the messiness. I liked their unhinged behavior, and I want to see more of it. But hear me out, because I do have a reason for that. What's up, YouTube? It's tinysey, and welcome to my digital garden. I want to talk about the media training issue that's been discussed on YouTube for quite a while now. I'm hoping this twist on the conversation might open up a new perspective. So first, let's talk about media training and ultimately the flaws that I see within it. Media training is a process of preparing individuals or organizations to effectively communicate with the media and the public. Typically, this includes instruction on how to handle various types of media encounters, such as live television or radio interviews, print or online news articles, and social media interactions. Trainees may learn how to control the message and stay on topic during an interview, how to anticipate and respond to difficult questions, and how to handle unexpected turns in the conversation. They may also learn how to use body language, tone of voice, and other nonverbal cues to convey confidence and credibility. I largely don't disagree with this. This is just teaching celebrities how to be professional, as we need in any industry. You'd hope that there's a level of professionalism, there's a level of just a way that you go about things. And that's where I think it ends for me. Like, I'm okay with teaching celebrities how to be professional. If it turns into the industry trying to change a celebrity to maybe dull down their personality, dull down their voice, dull down their authenticity, that's where I kind of sign off. A lot of people that say Chappell needs media training, or even Tyla, I Spice, there's so many countless celebrities that they are giving this sort of "you need media training" accusation. I think it extends past their professionalism and it goes into personality. I think a lot of these people just don't like their personality. I don't like the idea of using media training and PR teams to make somebody a empty shell of themselves for the sake of marketability, for the sake of people liking them and them not ruffling any sorts of feathers. I'm not a fan of celebrity culture. I think it's extremely toxic. I think the way we interact with celebrities is toxic, but I also think just the industry in general is super toxic. I don't understand why it's allowed and it's not criticized. And I think people calling for the media training of a lot of celebrities is just them kind of adhering to the toxic celebrity culture of wanting them to be perfect so that we can continue to idolize them, so that we don't see any flaws, so that we are not reminded that they're human, so that we are not reminded that, yes, they too have feelings, opinions, and ways of expressing themselves that we just might not like. And I think this is something that celebrities don't quite expect. Some celebrities don't know what media training is before they get into the job. And Jennifer Lawrence had an interview with Jimmy Fallon, and it illustrates this point very clearly.
You were telling
take.
Yeah.
This illustrates that sometimes celebrities do not even know that there is a particular way that they're supposed to act in these press tours. And I think if she knew the basics, she still probably would have done the same thing. It's so hard to know that you weren't allowed to make a joke like that. Like, how much can they really teach you within these media training things? Like, unless they literally just like hook something into your brain and just feed like all the rules into your brain, and you're just like a robot. You become a robot and you come off super fake and like, you know, you're just super trained. It would be horrible. It would be horrible. It'd be absolutely horrible if they truly were trained to the extent that I think some of these media training companies, some of these PR teams would like. She has been under flame recently. She has so many things going on, and she's just risen to a level of fame that has been quite unimaginable to her, and it's quite overwhelming for anyone to experience, especially when you're being thrusted into such a toxic culture. The more famous you are, the worse it gets, and you will have to be someone with strong boundaries, which I think Chappell has. I'm hoping she's able to hold her boundaries and authenticity, but I'm not gonna lie, the industry is a scary, scary place, so we'll see. So the first thing that set the public off was her posting 2 TikToks in which she was talking about how she wants you to think of her as though she is a stranger. So let's look at those.
I need you to answer questions. Just answer my questions for a second. If you saw a random woman on the street, would you yell at her from the car window? Would you harass her in public? Would you go up to a random lady and say, "Can I get a photo with you?" And she's like, "No, what the fuck?" And then you get mad at this random lady? Would you be offended if she says no to your time because she has her own time? Would you stalk her family? Would you follow her around? Would you try to dissect her life and bully her online? This is a lady you don't know. And she doesn't know you at all. Would you assume that she's a good person? Assume she's a bad person? Would you assume everything you read about her online is true? I'm a random bitch. You're a random bitch. Just think about that for a second, okay?
She's trying to establish a boundary for how she is treated when she's outside in the real world. I think the problem is that a lot of people do not see her as a stranger. They think that they know her. They have created a parasocial relationship with her in their mind. And so that makes them feel entitled. And they do, unfortunately, project positive attributes as well as negative attributes onto her, depending on what she's giving at the time. Unfortunately, because of the culture that has been allowed surrounding celebrities and how we treat them, this has become normalized. People saying that, oh, well, for her to say this, like, girl, you need media training, you shouldn't have said it like this, like, maybe you're not cut out for the job. Just all these horrible reactions to this video just shows me how entrenched we are in the toxic celebrity culture that someone can't even call for boundaries. And that's the horrible part. And we need to fix you. We need to send you off to media training to fix you, to make you act correctly when it comes to fan interactions, how you're supposed to act with fans, how you're supposed to speak to us. It's just so entitled and just so like trying to make her the perfect little object for people to objectify and to idolize. That's just the first thing that set people off about her. Then there's another video of her at the VMAs where she yelled back at paparazzi. So let's look at that. Sounded like a paparazzi said something, maybe they were heckling, I'm not quite sure, it's hard to really hear. She cusses at them and people didn't like this. They said it was not professional. She needs media training. She needs to learn how to interact with paparazzi. She is a human being yelled at, being mistreated. They're also not being professional. They're also not really adhering to that social code of be kind. Yes, there may have been a better way for her to set that boundary. Ultimately, the job was done. The last one is about her in politics, which always gets a bit dicey. So let's see what's happening with this whole situation. In an interview with The Guardian, she said she would not be endorsing a political candidate. And she said, I have so many issues with our government in every way. There are so many things that I would want to change. So I don't feel pressured to endorse someone. There's problems on both sides. I encourage people to use your critical thinking skills, use your vote, vote small, vote for what's going on in your city. And she also made it clear that she supports the LGBTQ community. They cannot have cis people making decisions for trans people, period. I think that she articulated her point well. She mentioned that she cares about LGBTQ rights. She wants people to vote in their city. But the thing that people hooked their claws into was her saying that there was problems on both sides. Now, I understand theoretically why there was a problem with her saying this, but ultimately there was enough context around her whole statement that should give you the cue that she is definitely left-leaning. She's talked about LGBTQ rights. She's talked about Palestine. She's talked about politics in a way that gives you a good enough idea of where she stands. But somehow people were able to misconstrue it and say, oh, she's Republican, she's Trump, she's pro-Trump, which just shows that people have no media literacy. People could clip anything and just take it and run away with it. And this is the problem that we are facing in society lately. And again, this somehow reflects back on Chappell Roan. People are saying, oh, well, she needs training. She had a PR team. If she had a media team, she would have known not to say it like that. But we also have to remember she is a singer. She is not a politician. She's not going to be well-versed in how to speak about politics. This is just another expectation that we put on celebrities that I think is unfair. They're not politicians, and to expect them to have the training to be able to speak about these things as well as a politician would is a bit unrealistic. She proceeded to reply on TikTok with a few videos just saying like, I don't know how this is getting misconstrued. I don't know how you guys are misunderstanding what I'm saying. And she was just a bit frustrated. And you could tell that this was taking a toll on her. And this is kind of just enforcing the idea that, oh, you definitely need media training. This could have helped you avoid all of these issues. The pressures that's even making this situation happen is because we expect celebrities to be able to talk about politics in such a professional and polished way so that there's absolutely no room for misunderstanding. If you put that sort of pressure on yourself as a human in any regard, in any situation, you will go crazy. Just another example that people will throw the word media training when really they just mean, I want you to be a perfect robot for me and not make any mistakes. But that's pretty much what's happening with the Chappell Roan situation. And she's probably the biggest candidate for she needs to be media trained. And so now we're going to move on to another example. This is Rachel Zegler, and she is going to be cast as Snow White in the new live action. And she's also been receiving the media training accusations. And I think her particular example shows us that it's definitely not about professionalism. Sometimes people just don't like your personality and they want you to be media trained so that you stop having one. The first problem she ran into was on a red carpet interview. So let's take a look at that.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves.
The reason why I think this is more an example of people not liking her personality is because I think she was very professional about it. I think that she stated what she was probably told. Maybe it didn't sound super like scripty, but it was in her words and her flavor and her personality. Her co-star is essentially nodding along and like agreeing with her, but she doesn't get any hate for this. So ultimately, I think there's a combination of things at play. Perhaps they don't like her personality, but they also probably don't like that they're changing up Snow White and they're taking it all out on the main character. This also happened to Halle Bailey when she was announced to be Little Mermaid. A lot of the diehard Disney fans did not like that a Black woman was going to be taking the role of the Little Mermaid. And so this might just be another one of those situations. So the way they think this is going to be fixed is one, having her recasted, which is very real and it's what they're saying, or two, making sure that she gets media training so that she doesn't upset them in any way possible. But unfortunately, the hate only got worse when an interview of her on the red carpet for the movie Shazam came out. So let's look at that video.
What made you want to step into this world of DC heroes? I needed a job. I'm being so serious. I mean, a lot of people keep asking me. Hi, Adam. My agent's over there. Hi, Ken. My lawyer. My entire family is here. Hi, everybody. Sorry. No, I mean, the reality was we were in the middle of a pandemic and I was not working and I couldn't get a job for the life of me because West Side Story hadn't come out yet, and it was really hard to book work for me. So I was really excited when this came in my inbox. I loved the first movie, and the fact that they even wanted me to come in for a callback and then a chem read and then everything in between. I'm so lucky that I got this job. I made some of my best friends on this job, and I just absolutely adore this movie too. So I'm excited.
So she starts off by saying, I needed a job. But as she expands and moves past the joke, she says she's happy to be on the movie. She loves the movie. She loved the first movie. She's made a lot of friends on this job. And then people are just saying she needs to go. Girl, you didn't need to say that I needed a job part. Imagine being hit for being honest. I can't believe people are angry about it. This is her job. This is an honest answer. Yes, this is her job. That's the honest truth. But then she goes into her professionalism bag and she's like, and I love the cast and I love the... So she gives you both sides. That should be okay. People apparently love authenticity, but when someone is honest to the core, you require them to take media training. Exactly. I don't see how this is something that requires for her to go into the media training dungeon.
1 million years dungeon!
Why can we not joke? Why can we not have a little bit of fun on the job? I feel like this was another one of those unfair, you need media training moments. Now let's talk about Blake Lively and the It Ends With Us press tour. This was more of a situation where people were realizing that Blake Lively might be a self-centered mean girl. And I think the years of marketing that has built her up to be this kind of girls next door, lovely, like cool girl that you want to be friends with has just been destroyed due to this media press tour. Two main things really happened from my assessment. One, she was centering herself, her belongings, her family, her fortune, instead of centering it on a very serious topic that was the movie. People believe that Blake Lively should know how to handle a press tour at this point in her career. She should know how to talk about a movie and make sure that she illustrates the main points in a way that actually represents it in a proper way.
Blake Lively here, Colleen Hoover, and It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
It's a heavy movie about a very serious topic. And the second thing that was happening were the Mean Girl allegations. And this was because people started to dig up all of the things that were happening, even from past press tours, and a particular moment of her talking to a co-star and just completely ignoring the interviewer. And the interviewer even going on to saying that she wanted to quit her job because of that particular interview with Blake Lively. They just started to dig up all the things that were starting to make her seem like she's not really a nice person. She might not be the cool, classy, nice girl that people thought that she was. And to me, the Blake Lively situation illustrates two very important points. One, that we oftentimes project a lot of feelings and thoughts onto celebrities and we make them out to be what they are not. People thought she was a super nice girl because of potentially a fake persona that she was showing to the world. They are humans and they will most definitely disappoint you if you really knew who they were. And the second point that I think it illustrates is that sometimes media training is necessary. These are one of those situations where I do think that media training or some sort of, I don't know if media training is a word, but some sort of debriefing on what they were going to talk about on the press tour would have been needed to make sure that they're aligned on what the message ultimately is. If you're doing your actual job horribly, then I do think that some training may be necessary. Some sort of improvement may be necessary because that's what you're getting paid to do. But ultimately, we were able to see a very real and raw version of herself. And I think for that reason, I am glad that she did not have the training, because now we have a lot more insight on the type of person that Blake Lively is, and people can do with that information what they like. Why do people hate authenticity when it comes to celebrities? I think this is very important to talk about because ultimately I think that's the reason why a lot of people try to send some of these celebrities into media training. People are sometimes uncomfortable with celebrities' humanity. They don't like being reminded that they are regular people with flaws, and it kind of breaks the illusion for them. They remember that, oh no, I'm idolizing a regular person. We've been just trained to see celebrities as perfect. Sometimes when they're not being absolutely perfect, we don't think they deserve the platform that they have. I think that celebrity culture is absolutely out of hand, and when they're being human, to me, it shows that we're going in the right direction. Getting you to be addicted to the person and sort of attached to them is how they're able to make so much money, but it's also the very toxic part of the job. It's a very toxic part of celebrity culture. I hope we could take away that celebrities are human beings and we're not always going to like who they are underneath the art, underneath their craft. When we see them in a more raw and polished way, hopefully we're able to respect their boundaries, but also remember that they're just doing a job. They are doing a job just like anybody else's, and just like you can give grace to the cashier that's not putting on a happy smiley face, you could give grace to a celebrity that doesn't answer a question perfectly, that doesn't give the perfect answers at all times, perhaps doesn't give you the energy you expected when you meet them in person. What do you guys think about this media training situation? Do you like your celebrities to be perfect, polished, or do you not mind the unfiltered parts of them? If you made it this far in the video, please comment the star emoji. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next YouTube video.